Colton, it's great to see you, man. But more importantly, it's what we're going to talk about, man. Season four of one of the best series, Canadian series ever put on television. How you feeling, man, going into season four?
Oh man, feeling top of the world. The only thing that would be better if I could count to four. That'd be fantastic, and then the volume would really hit. But it's incredible. Very fortunate. Like it's surreal still. I mean, 4 seasons, 13 episodes a season. Been at it for a little while now.
You've been in you're a young man, but you're a veteran in this industry. You've done so many other. I mean, you already have another show going on, kind of like at the same time as this. You've done a lot of great acting, but for this particular series, how do you think you've grown as an actor and basically in a small way, us watching you
Oh
kind of
man.
grow up on television too?
Well, Critch was the first time that I was playing like an older brother with a
Yeah.
relationship to a younger sibling. So that was kind of a fun little learning curve. I mean, on top of having to learn the Newfoundland accent, which should be a year-long case study of its own. Um, yeah, it's my gosh, very fortunate. And I think the biggest thing is to have grown with the people, with Ben especially. I mean,
Yeah.
literally grow. That kid has sprouted up 2 feet. He's grown like a bad weed. Someone's got to take him out at the knees.
We're Let's get right into that, man. Here's a guy because you remember, every time I've seen you guys in person, I keep going, "What? Who's feeding this young
I
man?"
know.
Because he keeps growing and growing. So, how does it feel? Here you are, the older brother, but you've got somebody who's like you said, like 2 or 3 feet taller than you.
I know. It's so I'm the youngest sibling of three. And so I've never been the older sibling who gets outgrown. And I got to tell you, Rudy, it's not a fun time. I know what my brother was feeling now. I was top of the world when I finally got taller than him, and now we come in and it's like every year we're replacing Apple box or something. Just keeps like thinking back to season one of our first scenes. I not figuratively, like literally talking down to him, and now we've gradually gotten on eye level, and I'm nervous that if we end up coming back, he's gonna be here. So he's gonna call it at some point.
Oh my goodness! For folks who don't know what the series is about, talk a little about it because you talked about Newfoundland, learning the accent, but of course we are talking about an era that I grew up in, the '80s. For folks who have never seen this series, what is it about? Because and the other part of which is my favorite, we're talking about radio because I got into radio in the '80s.
Oh, come on. Oh,
Yep,
so this is hitting close to home, eh?
very much.
Well, the show, Son of a Critch on CBC, is a coming of age story about a young man named Mark Critch, based on the real Mark Critch, his life story, him growing up and kind of finding himself, and like I said, coming of age in the 80s. And now in season four, we're moving into the 90s. So this is a bit more my territory now.
Ooh, working with such a great actor too. I mean, he's in he's so amazing. What things have you picked up from him that you use now, like advice? You must have taken him aside sometimes and go, "Hey, Mark, can you give me a little pointer here, there?" Or you watching him doing what he's doing, and you're going, "I got to steal some of that."
Oh man, absolutely. I'm stealing it all. I'm actually gunning to play Mike Sr. in the next season. He is fantastic. I mean, he's one of Canada's funniest men. I mean, 22 minutes and everything, and starting young and seeing him grow and meeting him in person the first time, knowing that he was such a comedian, that he can pull bits left, right, and center. So he taught me that it's okay to do bits at work. And so he's the one I blame if I ever get in trouble for it. But seeing him go from bit to bit and pulling these hilarious things, and then in a matter of seconds coming down and being like Mike Senior, stern talking to, like dropping in, he's excellent at that, and he's done such a fantastic job setting up this show as a family and as this incredible workforce because I mean, he is the son of a Critch, like it's on him, and he's done such a phenomenal job holding the helm.
Before we start getting into what's going to be happening in the new season, I want to go back to the old season too. I'm curious. What are some of the things that you learned about the 80s that I actually lived through and did? Because this series is very, very, very close. Even though it's in Newfoundland and I'm in Toronto, Ontario, it's very close to what I did and experienced back in the day, too.
Man, absolutely. And that's one of the wonderful things about the show is that it resonates with so many people. It, of course, with the Newfoundlanders and people from Newfoundland and Labrador, but all around the world, people are finding things that resonate. One thing I did learn, and I think this was last season, I learned how to splice a tape. Like playing on air, I had to get the walkthrough. We were shooting a scene for it, and they were like, "So you know how to splice a tape, right?" I went, uh, yeah, yeah, no, for sure. So I got a wonderful lesson from Mark and from Richard Clarkin, who plays Dick Dunphy, because they both had experience, and I got the step by step walkthrough on how to set it up, how to get it back on, how to play. Like, because that's the other thing in the studio, in the radio station especially, all of the electronics and everything are real time. Like it's they can show us how. So coming in and having a little bit of fun and just hitting random buttons, cut off quick. Like I got the proper walkthrough going. We're gonna have someone who's watching who will go, it doesn't seem right.
You have no idea what it's like in real time, even though we didn't have that word back then, on air. Here you are as the op behind that board, watching your reel going into destruction, starting a commercial, and having to do what you did real quickly, put it back together so that when the commercial was over, you got that reel back going. Man, it is an art form, and I miss it.
Oh man, I was sweating because even during the take, they were like, okay, we have like 8 seconds to get this. Here's the shot. We're gonna pan up. I was like, okay, okay.
Exactly.
And then it was just pressure on, like go start the clock. But it was awesome. It was awesome. Now I just need to get my hands on some tape and get to practicing here.
I hope you do because the only other thing I want to add in, there's some people are going, I have no idea what they're talking about. Think about having all these little pieces of tape just hanging there, and you got to remember which piece is supposed to go where to make everything sound perfect. That was again an art form, man.
It gave a whole new level of respect to people who were in radio at the time, including Mike, like real Mike, who now hosts K Rock. He hosts one of the most popular radio stations in Newfoundland, and I've gotten to go in a couple times and talk to them on air and see how it runs. And I'll tell you, he's got it easy now compared to what it was then.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, let's talk about what the family is doing now as we head into the 90s. And, the 80s were supposed to be about fun, even though we did have a collapse in the economy. But the 90s, now we're going into something in a different era where people kind of said the fun ended in the 80s and the 90s, as we like to call the grunge area. What's the family doing now in this new season?
Well, last we saw them, Mike is working away at the radio station, and gradually throughout the seasons, Mike Jr. I guess Mike Sr. is also working there.
Yeah.
Gets a little complicated. Too many Mikes, too many Marks. Um, and so he's really been working towards having his own independence at the station and at work. We saw him in earlier seasons not wanting to live in his dad's shadow, changing his name. And now this season, and I wore the shirt just to rep, he's starting up at Magic 97, a competitor radio station. Lots of stuff going on.
Oh,
And I mean,
wow.
yeah, we're bringing it in, a little bit of drama. But for young Mark, for Ben slash Mark, I guess, heading into high school, I think is a big thing, especially. And again, the show has resonated with tons of people all over. But for me, growing up in Ontario, I never had middle school. So through the last couple seasons, him doing middle school was kind of a foreign thing. But now getting into high school, everyone knows what that's like. Going from big fish, small pond, small fish, big pond, and I think they do it so well. Him coming in and all these new things, all of his old problems now seem so small. And when you get into high school, suddenly everything becomes life or death.
It definitely does. But this sounds like it's going to be amazing. And again, you are talking about the experiences that I've I've been through. Even though I've been the only person in my family to go into radio, everything I'm seeing, everything I'm hearing is like bang on, and that's one of the biggest reasons I love this series. What do you want folks to know about this new season as we get into it?
Ooh, uh, everyone's getting older.
Yeah.
That includes Ben, or Mark, Mike Jr., even Mary, and Mike Sr. and Pop. Everyone's been growing. I mean, we've been with them for 4 years, so we're seeing now. Some people are coming into their own. Some people are fighting through things that come with age. And it's and I sound like a broken record because I feel like every interview that we've done every season, I'm like, well, this season's better than the last. Man, and I swear, if it wasn't, then I wouldn't say it. But
Yeah.
really, this season feels like the strongest so far in terms of performances and story and writing. I mean, from season one, from the second day of season one, I feel like everyone's really hit their stride and stepped into it, which, my God, it's incredible to see and to be a part of.
No, and we're so happy to be part of the audience to see that. And like I said, man, thank you in such a way of representing my life through the eyes of this great series. Congratulations on this, man. Cannot wait for the new season. I know there's got to be, see, for me, there's got to be another season five, and there still has to be another season six before this whole story of this young man is told. So I think we still got a couple of more heading in there.
Oh man, let's keep those fingers crossed. I swear. And thank you for that, Rudy. That's the best thing to hear when people can find something of this show that reminds them of the time or really feels like it hits home. That's the best. That's the best thing that we can hear as the actors. So thank you for that, man.
No, man. Thank you. Look, thanks again. Looking forward to it, and we will definitely talk soon. Congratulations.
Gnarly. Thank you so much, Rudy.